Thank you very much, Gerard, and thanks for all the other panelists for, such a high-level discussion. So, on my side, I'll be briefly presenting our initiative, which is called Electis. I think we're very complementary to the different initiatives that were mentioned today, in the sense that we're not a solution provider as such. We're not an organizer, an authority. I would say we're in between. We're a nonprofit trying to bring together all the different actors into a do tank, because I think what all the different conversations just showed, over the past hour, is as much we need to reconcile different approaches between what are the needs from the citizens, from the organizers, just as Amelia, you were just mentioning in terms of what citizens in your constituency were asking for, what solutions can provide in terms of security, but also in terms of usability, as Philippe was just mentioning about the incredible solution they built, but also the concern that raised from the academic world about and they're more than legitimate about what is the embedded security of all these solutions. And where we thought maybe we need a place in the middle, which is fully nonprofit, so we're free of any conflict of interest, where doers meet. So the solutions meets the organizer, meets the user, meets the activist around e-voting. So we see in the end, what kind of solution fits what kind of need. So this is how we came out with Electis.
Hey, Giles, I don't see your slides, so I don't know if you're actually sharing them.
Okay, so maybe I didn't press the right button. Yep, sorry. Is that?
Right. And
does that work now?
Now we see. Yep. Now we see your slides.
Yep. Okay. So yeah. So I was just presenting the Electis program as such. So the idea is, how do you bridge or how you make communities and academic world, meets the e-voting experiment in a decentralized, open source, and nonprofit way. I talked about the nonprofits because we do believe that democracy needs also in the middle. We need for-profit actors to build solutions. We need institutions, but we need also a nonprofit space for testing and assessing all the solutions. It needs open source as a second principle, because we're talking about the backbones of democracy, and I think citizens have a right to to accept open source programs and be sure what's behind the solutions that are proposed. And also, of course, we're here to talk about blockchain. So the decentralized approach of these solutions is key also to Electis. I would say the solutions themselves provide increased transparency and security while being decentralized, but it also allows for better citizens' participation and monitoring of the solution. So I think the key concept we want to put there, we all agreed, and I think that was mentioned from several panelists, that we'll never have 100% safe solution, of course. And in the first place, paper ballot voting is not 100% safe itself. And I think there's a level of risk that a community is really ready to take. And when we talk about paper ballot, of course, in-mail voting, and as we said recently, is a particular kind of paper ballot, which raises even more concern about security. So the whole thing has to be balanced in terms of there's no 100% safe security. So what is actually trustable? And the real question is trust. What does a community feel trustable? Ourselves, Electis, we step one step aside from sovereign voting, thinking that maybe the first safe place where to experiment all these solutions is not per se directly sovereign voting because of all these concerns. It's smaller communities, NGOs, actors that, are in need of increased legitimacy for what they do. And I think that's interesting because it's also a place where we feel today a lot of political momentum. There's so many things happening, and from Black Lives Matters to Fridays for Future to movements for the environment around the world. This is a very, very lively force, and of course, they don't. I mean, these elections do not have the same stakes that sovereign election because we're starting from zero. There's almost nothing happening in terms of security today, and they are willing and they are really requesting new solutions to be more legitimate. So that's a focus for electees. We said, how can we empower these grassroots movements with the tools that can make them more legitimate? Now, to come to blockchain, how do we use blockchain ourselves? Because we've developed our own solution to share within the community. But again, we welcome any solution which is open source and non-profit and free of use. We ourselves, with the support of the Tezos Foundation, we've built a solution. We do use the blockchain as, I would say, the equivalent of a paper trail. Amelia was saying, one thing which is amazing about blockchain is the auditability, of course, of in the end, because you have immutable register. What struck us when we engage with communities and when we compare with ballot voting is how much people, in the end, really just trust paper, and something that they're not comfortable with remote e-voting is where does my vote go? Where are these numbers? Where do they end up? What's the reality of it? It seems, for non-tech people, it seems so abstract, so out in the air. How can you ground it the way paper grounds it? And I think blockchain is a very promising solution in that way because it does ground it.
Hey, Giles, Giles, I got to give you a 3-minute warning.
Thanks. So I wouldn't go into the technical architecture we're using, just to mention that, the solution itself doesn't have to be fully decentralized entirely in the blockchain, because we know how many issues it can raise if all the voting is occurring on the blockchain. But you can have centralized solution where it's a decentralized record at the end, which is the one we're using. And I'm happy later in the open discussion to go back on the electees app. And of course, this is an ongoing process, and there's so more that can be added in our solution, in other solution. This is a very lively space, and I'm again very grateful to you, Gerard, and to the GBA to give me this opportunity that we all exchange between our solutions, because I think at the end of the day, we're sort of building together the backbone of next day architecture. Last thing, is a call for help for everyone who's here, attending the presentation. We need your help, us electees, because again, we're not developing. We're not doing sovereign elections. We're doing grassroots elections. So everyone, in a way, is a grassroots citizen. Everyone is part of an organization, a community that needs to be empowered, that is interested, that wants to see the future of democracy. Join us, reach out to us. We can help you organize elections. You can help us test these solutions, and we can all together at the end discuss about it. So I will conclude here. And we're happy to, I think this is not the time for a demo, but definitely happy to give further details to anyone who's interested.